Heyo, hello, hello, hello. This is Els coming in from Bemis Crafty Corner, and we're back to work on the Dark Macabre Journal. First one of the year, right? All right, so I got a question. Why did somebody asked me why I do the Dark Macabre journals only once a year? Well, I only do them once a year because it's the only time of the year that I can find stuff to go in them. Like, seriously. Like, if I want paper or I need stuff like that, this is the only time of the year I can find that stuff. So, I only do them one time of the year, and that is towards Halloween. So, let's do a quick review. I did 3 signatures in this little book, and there they are, 3 signatures, and then I went ahead and mashed these down with my bone folder because I'm going to actually cut them off, and I'm going to cover this piece with some fabric. Not sure yet. I might use the fabric that's on the inside. I did decide to line this with fabric on the inside, so I made some book cloth and put that in there, and I just thought that was kind of a cool little contrast. It is an open book. The reason that it's open is because there were little pockets in here, so this is kind of the natural look for this book. And then I printed out a whole bunch of graphics to go in here from a couple of different places, and some of them are from like the Getty Center, and some of them are just historic photographs and things. But I printed out sheets upon sheets of these and sent them to my local printer, and he printed them for me. And then we spent some time cutting them out. So I have, ones that are just square and some that are, semi-fussy cut it. And I'm going to work on that one. And then I have some that are like really fussy cut it. And fussy cutted? I don't know. That word just doesn't sound right. And I have, some pieces that are like this. And we have some vintage photographs that I'm going to be putting in here. And just all kinds of, different bits and pieces of ephemera. Some of these I'll turn into tags, and some of them I will just use as journaling cards. Just kind of depends. Now, some of these images I did replicate. Normally, I don't like to duplicate images, but I did on some of them because I figured I had 3 signatures. I could kind of blend them in. I have some that are already made into tags, some more vintage photos, more fussy cutting, more labels, more old photographs. I love that photograph. So I got all of those. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Now, these were all printed on 65-pound white cardstock, so I will have to, if I'm going to use them, I'm going to have to ink them and do all that good stuff. So, got all those. Then I picked up the pad that I was planning on using for this, which is the Green Witch. This is from Recollections, so this is one of their new pads. And so I took a bunch of sheets out of this and cut them into usable sizes. And when I'm talking about usable size, I mean none of these are wider than my pages. They're all taller than my pages, but that's okay because I'm going to cut them down. But they are all the size that I can get into my smaller trimmer so I can use them on my desk. Now, the ones I didn't trim down were these. And the reason that I didn't is because I kind of want to just like cut around this and use this as like a fussy cut pocket. Probably going to do something similar here and here and here, and I didn't cut this one down because I'm not sure that I'm going to need it. So, get these out of the way. So, let's take a look. In here, I have some cut-aparts. So, we'll do those first. Get all of these out. And we have some strips. So let's get those out of the way. So this was a strip, and I figured I'd just cut it into pieces. So I cut it into thirds, and I figured, these are good enough to put like at the bottom or add it to a piece of paper to make a pocket out of it. This was a strip. I cut it into thirds. Figure those could be pockets. Now, I like this piece. The problem is the forest is dark and full of magic. It's all one long phrase, and there's really no way for me to use it. So I'm not going to use that one. But I did cut these down, and I figured, I could do like 3 and 2 or, or something like that. I can use these to make some pockets. I have this here. I thought this would make some cute pockets. I could do like every 4 glasses, every 4 jars, make some pockets out of that. So I went ahead and cut those out. And then I have these, and these are the cut aparts from the back, and we're just going to cut these by hand just to cut them down to size. Now I need to trim this because my cutter got a little wily. So cut these down real quick. And the one thing I did like about this particular book is that this one kind of matches last year's. So I can use some of that ephemera as well. So I'm going to cut these down, get out my ephemera pieces from last year, and then I will be right back, and we will kind of start figuring out where we're going to put some pockets into this, okay? Because we all know there's a formula to how I do my books, and it's pretty much just my own version of an assembly line, because I don't like to take 20 million years to make a journal. So I shall be right back. All right, so all of the paper that I cut, none of the strips are wider than 4 7/8 because my pockets are 5 inches wide. So I would never cut them more than 4 7/8 because I have to have a little bit of a wiggle room. So then what I will do is I will cut these down, and depending upon, which direction I want to make the pocket, I will make a pocket. So let's cut this one. I don't want to cut any more pockets out of that one. We're going to set it to the side. All right, so now I have this one. And I like the skull head. So this is probably going to be a pocket on this side of a page. And then this one is 4 7/8. So we're going to cut it to 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. We'll see what that looks like. And then we'll cut a pocket like there. Pocket. I can't use that because the heads would be sideways, and so would the mushrooms. So we can't do that. But if we want to make a pocket, we could do this. And that's going to go right across the bottom of the page because it's 4 7/8 across. So we do 4 7/8. And I think I'm going to cut off this end. So now that'll fit as a bottom pocket. And let's do some of these. So this one is 3 1/2. So we'll go 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. We'll cut it down the middle. That can be a pocket on either side. Again, I'll do another 3 1/2 on this one. Cut it on the diagonal. This way. That can be a pocket. That, not so much. We'll do this one. We'll just lop that off. There's a pocket. And basically that's what I do. I just kind of go through all of my bits and pieces here. And I just kind of cut my pockets to, you know, what I think is a good length or width. And then I just take off the parts and pieces that I don't want. And I just make very odd shaped pockets, and anything that I have left over, these extra pieces, I put those to the side. Hags loves those. So in this one, I want to make like a straight pocket. So we'll cut that at the top of the bird. There's a pocket. There's another one. There's a pocket. There's another one. Pocket. And this one I'm going to trim the top off of it because it's a little deep. Pocket. Now I have some of these pieces, and you see this kind of has like a thing here in the corner, and so I want to kind of cut that. So what I will do is I will take my scissors and just rough around the part that I want to use for my pocket, which is that part. And then on this one I want to use this part. Trim this just a little bit. And I may take this piece off up here just because it kind of upsets the balance. But I'm going to go through and I'll cut that just a little bit closer. This part I really won't use. I might use this part, but it's highly unlikely. So I will simply put that in Hags's pile. Now on this one again, I'm probably going to use this scallop piece here, this fancy swirl. So I'm just going to rough it out. I'll use that. I like that. And so we'll do that again. Works for me. And then I'm just going to go through and finish cutting all these strips down to pocket size. And once I have a nice healthy pile of pockets, then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about putting them into the book and how we're going to get them in. Okay? Okay. So I did a little bit more fussy cut on these pieces. And this was that big square. I just cut it in half and cut the ends off of it so it would fit. And then I've inked everything. You can see I've inked all of it. So this whole pile is inked and ready to go. So the only thing we really have left to do is, you know, to cut these down when we want to and then ink them. But since I'm going to cut these kind of on the moment, I figured I would set them to the side and we'll work on those as we go. I did pull out some things here. I've got some toe tags. I enlarged these a little bit, and they're actually on, they're adhesive at this point, so I have to put them onto some cardstock to make them a little thicker. I have some leftover pieces from last year's Halloween kit that, you know, I thought would kind of work, you know, the crystal ball and things, and maybe the skull. And I do have some stickers as well that are washi tape stickers that are also, you know, skulls and bones and things like that. We have some of these Halloween labels, and they're all different, so we have a bunch of those. We have some other labels and things that were left over from last year, some spider webs and things like that. So I pulled some of these out. And then we also have from Pink Paisley the Spellcast stuff that I used last year. And there's some pieces in here that may work for this book. So I pulled that. Plus all of our journaling cards and all of that. And then I went into my stash and I pulled some little envelopes and I pulled some tags. These are all 7 Gypsies, so they're really thick stock and they're very buttery and very rich, and they're all a little different. So I did pull some 7 Gypsies black tags. There's just something about 7 Gypsies paper. I do have more paper so I can cut more tags if I need to. And so I have all of those. And so we're pretty much, you know, ready to get started here. I'm going to move all the ephemera out of the way. And we're going to bring in the book. The book. All right, so this is the book. This is my front cover. I know this because my skull is right side up. And when I do this, it's pretty easy. I just kind of decide where things are going to go off the cuff. Okay, we'll start with this here because we want to make a statement in the front. So that'll be the front. And I only have 3 of these, so we're going to use 1 on each signature. And then we're just going to kind of go through and decide where we're going to put some pockets. And we'll just kind of pick different pockets in different places. And let's see. This one will go across the bottom. So I'm just randomly pulling pockets out and just randomly putting pieces of paper in. And for right now, I'm only doing a pocket on one side, so one or the other is getting a pocket. Now this is the centerpiece, so I could use a bigger pocket in here if I want to, or no pocket, just leave this for writing, however I want to do this. We're going to use this one here, and I'll flip the page, and we will use we'll do one of those. We could do that there. No, we'll do it over on the other side. All right, so we're going to do kind of a belly band here, and small pocket there. And I think we'll use one of these here. A nice big pocket here. This one will have to be trimmed down and re-inked a little bit. That's okay. And let's see, what else do we have? And I kind of want to try and not use the same piece repeatedly. So this is basically just how I do it. I just go through and just kind of place stuff here and there, sort of willy-nilly as I go through. All right, so that's the end of the first signature. So I will go ahead and clip this to keep it out of my way. And I'll get started on the next one. Again, I'm just going to continue to do what I've been doing. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to randomly take a piece of this and a piece of that and just kind of figure out where they're going to go. And just work my way through. All right. As soon as I have everything in the spot that I want it, I will come back and we'll start gluing some stuff in. Okay. Okay, so since I'm going to be using some of this heavier Seven Gypsies cardstock, which is more like, it's almost a 22-point chipboard, it's so thick, and some of these tags are very large, I may be doing a lot of decorating on them, so in order to get them into the pockets, I want to have some of the pockets be a little thicker. So to do that, what I do is grab some cardstock in a color that corresponds to what I'm doing. I obviously don't want to put bright white cardstock in here. And I cut it down to 3/4 of an inch, and I just make some strips, and then I just put those on my scoreboard, and I score them at 3/8. That's halfway. That allows me to create some gussets to put in if I want to do gussets in my pockets to make them larger. So we've got a few of these. That's about all, we need for the moment. We may decide to get some more. And then all I do is just fold them in half. And you can do this with your fingers if you want to. You can do this on the scoreboard. It's entirely up to you. I just like to use the scoreboard because it makes my life easier. Okay, so I'm just going to fold these in half. I could go over them with my bone folder once I get them all folded. And I will use these to make gussets on any of my pockets. And as we're going through, when I find a pocket that I'm going to gusset, of course, I will stop and explain how to do that. But at this point, these can get put to the side, and let's take a look. So I do have extra pockets and things left, and I may add those. I've only done one on either page as we go through. So as you see, there's not one here, there's one here. There's not one, there's one here, but not one there. Not one here, there's one here. Not one, here's one. And I may want to gusset this so that I can put a larger tag into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of close up those out of my way here. And we're going to bring over this set. And we're going to get started. Now, this is the first pocket. I'm not going to put anything huge in this pocket, so just gluing this one down is going to work. I am not going to ink pages here. I just find that that is redundant. I have beautiful colored paper. Why am I going to ink it? Now, I may take this and bring it in a little because I may put some lace in here. So that's a decision that I need to make. If I'm going to put some lace on here, I may not want to cover up my design with the lace. So I give myself a little bit of room here just to be able to do that. So I have a full bottle of glue. And I'm going to start gluing in my pockets. Now just a little bit of glue is all it takes. And again, I'm going to bring this in just a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch, and slightly up off the bottom of the page by about 1/16. And then I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to press in towards the center just a little bit because this is a fussy cut pocket, and I want to make sure that I've got space to be able to put something in there without it getting caught. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all the pockets and just kind of work my way through. Just a little bit of glue. Now I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'm not going to go all the way in, just as I don't go all the way out. That does help a little bit with the gator mouth. Not a lot, but a little. All right, so we skipped this entirely. Not sure. I may want to write on this part, or I may have some other things in mind, but I did skip a few pages as we went through. So let's take a look at the next one. And I know that I want this on this side because this is the white side. So again, I'm just going to put some glue on here. Now I'm not rounding corners here, so I'm not going to round any corners on this. Again, a little bit off from the back and a little bit up from the bottom. Now, this will be the first pocket that I am going to gusset. Okay. So the first thing I need to do is trim this down just a little bit. And I'm going to trim it on the inside so that it doesn't really show. And then I'm going to build my first gusseted pocket. So to do that, I'm going to take one of my strips, and I'm just going to press that in there. Let me get out the other bone folder because that one tends to leave that glossy stuff on black cardstock, and I hate that. All right, so what I'm going to do is decide what is my top. This is the top of my pocket. I need a piece that's going to go here. And so I will just kind of finger measure and snip. I will need the same size piece for the other side. So one on top of the other, and there's those fantastic measuring skills again. And this one is obviously not going to be long enough to go across the bottom, so I'll grab another strip. And now, wedge these in to reduce the bulk, and we're going to do that on all of them. And to do that, I just go from the fold. So from the folded edge here towards the open edge at a slight angle. Okay? Then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. Using the other side as a handle. I'm going to line this up. And what I'm doing is I'm lining it up with the edge of the paper. I don't want it to come over the edge, but I want it to be right at the edge. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing on the two sides. So some glue. Little handle. We're going to go at the top, right at the edge. And then the other side. Now, why am I not using glue, tape here? Because tape does not dry. Therefore, you always have the chance of your tag getting caught on the tape. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to go over these one more time with my bone folder to make sure that they're good and adhered and that they're well pressed. Okay? Then I'm going to bring my book back over and I'm going to put glue on my pieces. I don't want to get any glue in there, okay? Just on the outside here. And then I'm just going to simply take this. I'm going to line up the bottom first. Remember, we're leaving a little bit of space over here in case we want to put in some lace. Nice and even across the bottom. And we're just going to press and hold that for a second. So now what I have is a very thick pocket here. It'll take a nice big tag, okay? I will continue to do this through the entire book, and then we'll come back and take a look and see if we need to put in more pockets or how we're going to, proceed. I'll be right back. All right, so I have put in all of my pockets. They've been glued in throughout the whole book, and I have moved into, getting out some ephemera. So I went through the pile of graphics that I had cut and printed and cut out, and the cut aparts that came with the paper pad, and I took out basically what was like labels, not so much things that I would use as journaling cards or tags. So I pulled those out and have put those in different places throughout the book. And now we're moving on to some of the other things. I have these stickers. I have some pieces of actual ephemera. I have these, which are transparent acetate. I have some black pieces left. I have some of these stickers here that change colors between, you know, a person and a dead person. If you guys can see that, but they're those changing pictures. I've got a few of those. I have some pieces from Spellcast, and I have some washi stickers that are skulls and bones and creepy stuff. So what I'm going to do is go through and kind of figure out where that stuff goes. So like I said, I've already put in like some of my things like this, some of my small label pieces, and I have those placed. So like I have strychnine. This may go up here in the corner. It still needs to be inked. So we'll ink it real quick. Now, some people say that I make my journals a little too fast. But there's a reason for that, okay? And that is because I am not making this to suit my personal taste. For me, I want this to be a decorated journal, but I really want it to be kind of generic, if that makes sense. Because this is going to find a home someplace else, not with me. If it was for me, then I would decorate it the way that I want it. But since it's not for me, there's no sense in me decorating it to my taste. So I will be able to quickly go through and decorate a journal, because at that point it's just a matter of having space to write in it and having some decoration in it, and then moving on, because I want people to make it their own. I do not expect that the people that, you know, get my journals in the end are going to keep every tag in the pocket that I carefully and painstakingly designed it for. It's not going to happen. So I will kind of rush through just so that I can get everything in here. And I would rather have a finished journal that is very generic than an unfinished journal that has no chance of finding its forever home. It's like I'm adopting them out, right? But that's kind of the reason that I can do them as quickly as I can, because I'm not doing them to suit my taste. I'm doing them to, you know, fit a generic taste. Somebody else is going to put their memories in here, and their photographs, and their thoughts and ambitions and dreams. So why do I want to make this look like it's mine? I don't. I want to make it look like it belongs to someone else, like it is ready and it's a canvas for them to put things on. So it's not that I don't care and I don't whip through them because I just don't care. No, I do care, but it's not mine. It's not my journal. I am simply putting it together. This journal belongs to whoever it ends up with, whether that's somebody who sees it, falls in love with it, buys it, or I give it away as a gift, or somebody buys it as a gift for somebody else. This journal is never meant to be mine. So why would I make it my own in the making? All right, so that's it for this part. I've done the cover, the inside. I've done pockets in here and began putting in a little bit of ephemera here and there. Just a few pieces just to kind of, you know, get started. And I've got some interesting little pieces in here. We're going to be, the next time we get together, we're going to be doing this flip. We're going to be putting in some washi tape, and we are going to be working on some tags. I reduced the size of the toe tags so that they're more normal. So I'm going to get those taken care of and get them prepped and ready to go. So that's it, guys. Listen, if you have not done so already, do me a favor and hit the red button, subscribe, like me, ring my bell, and share me with all your friends. And until I see you again, bye-bye.